On April 16, 2026, Speaker Knockerz' X account posted a tweet 12 years after his passing to Plaqueboy Max. The internet went into a frenzy because a dead man's account, silent since March 2014, had just spoken. So who sent that tweet, and why did they send it now? Here's everything we know about who's behind that post from Speaker Knockerz' account. Let's start with what happened. Speaker Knockerz' X account tweeted after 12 years, directed to Plaqueboy Max. 12 years. Not 12 hours, not 12 days, 12 years. The account Speaker Knockerz, the same handle Derek McAllister Jr. used to promote his tracks, share links to iTunes and build his name, went live again. And it wasn't some automated post from a forgotten scheduling app. It was directed at a specific person, Plaqueboy Max, a streamer and content creator with roots deep in the current generation of internet culture. The tweet happened on April 16, 2026, and within hours, outlets like No Jumper reported the post to their audience, and DJ Academics shared the story across threads. The reaction was immediate. Fans flooded the replies. Some called it haunting, some called it a hack, which is supposedly the last day that he was seen or heard from. That last tweet was a link to his single Lonely on iTunes. And then nothing. The account went dark. His page, which has not been active since his death, continues to have 200,000 followers. For over a decade, Speaker Knockerz sat frozen in digital amber, a profile that belonged to a 19-year-old kid from South Carolina who never got to see what his music would become. A kid whose account was essentially a time capsule from early 2014, until someone logged in and tweeted at Plaqueboy Max. Now, the first assumption most people made was obvious. It was a hack. Someone cracked the password. Some random person on the internet got into the account. That's fair. That's a reasonable first instinct. But the title of this video already told you what's coming. It wasn't a hack, and the story behind who actually sent that tweet and what their connection to Speaker Knockerz is requires you to understand who Speaker Knockerz was, how he died, and what happened to everything he left behind. Derek McAllister Jr., born November 6, 1994, known professionally as Speaker Knockerz, was an American rapper and record producer. He didn't have a label deal. He didn't have a publicist. He didn't have a manager who booked him on late-night shows. Raised in Columbia, South Carolina, he began his music career as a producer, teaching himself and selling instrumentals while still a teenager. What he had was a computer, an internet connection, an FL Studio, and with those three things, he built a fan base that major label artists would envy. On March 6, 2014, Speaker Knockerz was found dead in his garage. At his home in South Carolina, he was 19. Authorities reported no signs of foul play, and his death was later believed to have been caused by carbon monoxide poisoning. He was 19 years old. His account went quiet. His music did not. And for the next 12 years, a family carried his legacy forward, while the world kept listening. And to understand why, you have to understand everything that built up to this moment. Derek McAllister Jr. did not grow up in the music industry. He grew up around music, and there's a difference. Speaker Knockerz would spend the first years of his life in New York City. His father, Derek McAllister Sr., was sentenced to 10 years in prison, while the family lived in the city. With his father's imprisonment, Speaker Knockerz' mother made the decision to move to Columbia, South Carolina, in order to avoid an unhealthy environment. His mother, Mesha Wilson, made that call on her own. She pulled Derek and his younger brother Christian out of the Bronx and relocated them to the South. It is during his time in South Carolina that the aspiring rapper developed his passion for hip-hop music and its creation. There was no studio. There were no professional connections. There was a bedroom, a family computer, and a kid who wanted to make beats. At 13, he started using Fruity Loops after seeing a video of American rapper Soulja Boy doing the same. That detail is instructive. Soulja Boy, at the time, was arguably the most visible example of a young artist who had bypassed the traditional industry and built a career purely through the internet. Derek saw that and thought, I can do that. And so he started. Day after day, night after night, he sat in front of that computer screen and crafted beats. His dad later recalled, day in, day out, he would come home from school and sit there and try to make beats all day and all night. In 2010, his father came back home having completed his sentence. Being a musician himself, Derek McAllister Sr. was able to assist his son. With the creation of his first mixtape, Flight, delayed, the reunion between father and son happened to coincide with Derek's artistic development, reaching a critical mass. His dad, who had been a musician in New York before prison, he was building something real. Around 2010 to 2011, Speaker Knockerz sold his first instrumental to a Miami rapper for $50 and used the money to buy an affordable pair of speakers. $50. That was the first transaction. And from that $50 sale, a snowball effect began that would reshape the melodic landscape of hip-hop in ways nobody could have predicted. Though the project only got a couple of hundred plays, SK's production only grew in popularity, and he started earning a steady income through placements and beat purchases. Meek Mill was the first mainstream artist to use an SK beat on Tony Montana. It was perfect timing, with Meek exploding into the mainstream shortly thereafter. Lil Scrappy, French Montana, and 2 Chainz also rapped on SK beats, and he used that traction to promote and market his own songs. Sell beats to artists who are bigger than you, then use the credibility and revenue from those sales to push your own music. It was entrepreneurial in the most fundamental sense. A teenage kid in South Carolina running a one-man operation that was intersecting with some of the biggest names in hip-hop. In spring 2012, he began rapping under his current moniker as a means of promotion for his record production. This is the key pivot. Up until this point, Derek was a producer. He made beats for other people. But he realized that the fastest way to promote his production catalog was to become his own best advertisement. So he started rapping, and he turned out to be good at it. Very good, in fact. In 2013, he would release 2 mixtapes, Married to the Money and Finesse Father. He also launched his own record label. That same year, he also launched his own record label, Taliban's Entertainment. In the same year, he dropped the Rico Story trilogy and the track Lonely. His music gained wider attention in 2013 with the release of the song Lonely, which spread widely on social media. People were promoting it on Vine. The bop dance movement in Chicago had latched onto his beats. The bop was a popular dance in Chicago, and people created dancing videos to SK's tracks on Vine, bopping to his hits. Not to mention, SK also performed at a plethora of shows in Chicago, and he invited influencers to meet him and lip-sync to his tunes. The momentum was staggering. Even Universal Music Group reportedly reached out to SK, which he turned down because he still wanted to keep 100% of the royalties to his music and had way bigger goals. A major label comes calling, and this 19-year-old says no. He wanted independence. He wanted ownership. He wanted it on his terms. And then everything stopped. On March 4th, 2014, Speaker Knockerz went missing. McAllister may have been missing for at least 2 days before being found. A Facebook user who identified herself as the rapper's mom said he was last seen Tuesday night while in a black Camaro. It's not like him not to communicate or come home for this long period of time. Misha Wilson reportedly wrote, his mother posted on Facebook, pleading for information. His father posted on Twitter, asking followers if they'd seen his son. The family was frantic. Something was wrong. Derek always communicated. Derek always came home. This silence was unlike him, and everyone who knew him recognized it immediately. On March 6, 2014, Speaker Knockerz was found dead in his garage at his home in South Carolina. He was sitting in his black Chevrolet Camaro. Authorities reported no signs of foul play, and his death was later believed to have been caused by carbon monoxide poisoning. He was 19 years old. The initial reports were chaotic and contradictory. Coroner Gary Watts said foul play is not suspected, and an autopsy found no sign of trauma. Results are pending for a toxicology test. Media outlets began running with the unconfirmed rumor that he had suffered a heart attack. His death was ruled as natural causes, more specifically a heart attack. Others speculated about drug use. The Richland County coroner later confirmed that there were no signs of drugs or foul play involved. For years, the narrative around Speaker Knockerz's death was muddled by speculation. His family watched it happen. They heard the whispers, they saw the conspiracy theories, and for nearly a decade, they remained largely silent about the details, until 2023. In a 2023 interview, his mother said his cause of death had been widely misrepresented and did not involve either drugs nor a heart attack. His mother also claimed at the time that she was not quite ready to provide details around his passing. That statement was clarifying and frustrating in equal measure. She was telling the world that everything they thought they knew was wrong, but she wasn't ready to say what actually happened. It is now believed he died of carbon monoxide poisoning from running his car in a closed garage. During this time, it was reported that McAllister was going through a breakup, leading fans to speculate that his death was possibly a suicide. However, these speculations have no evidence behind them. The family has never confirmed or endorsed that theory, and no official report supports it. What is confirmed unambiguously is that Derek McAllister Jr. died at 19 in his garage next to the car he bought with the money from his music, and the world lost one of the most quietly influential voices hip-hop had ever produced. When the news broke, soon after his death was made public, "Rip Speaker Knockerz" became a Twitter trend in the United States. The tributes poured in from friends, fans, and fellow artists. Friend and collaborator Zach Dillon, who directed many of the artist's videos, was among the mourners. His father posted a tribute on Twitter. Longtime friend Zach Dillon tweeted his remembrance. A Twitter user claiming to be his father and manager wrote, "To my son Speaker Knockerz, you will never be forgotten." And then that account, Speaker Knockerz, went dark. The last tweet, a link to Lonely on iTunes. The date, March 5, 2014. A song called Lonely, posted the day before its creator would be discovered dead, alone, in his garage. For 12 years, that was the final word. Until now. To understand why someone would log into Speaker Knockerz' account after 12 years, you need to understand what happened to his legacy in the years after his death. Because Speaker Knockerz didn't fade away. He got bigger. His influence metastasized across an entire generation of rappers who took his melodic, auto-tuned, internet-first approach and turned it into the dominant sound of the late 2010s and 2020s. Following his death, his work has since been cited by later artists as influential within early 2010s internet-era hip-hop and influential in the melodically driven state of modern rap. The list of artists who have publicly credited Speaker Knockerz reads like a roster of the biggest names of the past decade. On August 21st, 2014, Florida rapper Kodak Black released a remix of Speaker Knockerz' song Lonely called Off of 14. In a 2016 unreleased song by American rapper Lil Uzi Vert titled Alone Time, the rapper paid tribute to Speaker Knockerz. In February 2016, American rapper Denzel Curry paid tribute to Speaker Knockerz in his song Naughty Head. In an August 2018 interview with XXL, American rapper Lil Mosey revealed that Speaker Knockerz set the groundwork for his production style. During a November 2018 interview with The Fader, American rapper Roddy Ricch called Speaker Knockerz one of his biggest inspirations musically. Roddy Ricch, the same artist who would go on to have one of the biggest records in the world with The Box, traced his sound back to a teenager from South Carolina who never signed a record deal. In November 2019, American rapper Kevin Gates released his song By My Lonely, which samples Speaker Knockerz' song Lonely, as an homage to the late rapper. The song peaked at number 86 on the Billboard Hot 100. That's a Billboard Hot 100 record built on the foundation of an unsigned artist who died 5 years prior. In February 2020, Los Angeles rapper O-Jeezy released a song titled Appetizer, in which he pays tribute to Speaker Knockerz. In November 2022, rapper T Grizzly called Speaker Knockerz' song Rico Story one of his favorite storytelling rap songs. He opened the door for numerous artists such as Nav, A Boogie, and most of the Lil rappers. Roddy Ricch even tweeted Rip Speaker Knockerz on the day of his death, years before he himself blew up. Kodak Black remixed Lonely with his song Off of 14, and Lil Mosey flipped SK's Scared Money in his breakout single Noticed. Most recently, there was an obvious connection between King Von's Crazy Story singles and SK's Rico Story trilogy. And through all of this, through a decade of growing recognition, sampling, tributes, and name drops, Speaker Knockerz' family was watching. They weren't passive observers. A few months after his death, another album, Married to the Money 2, was posthumously released by Taliban's Entertainment, which had been taken over by his brother. Currently, his brother named Christian McAllister has taken over the label. Christian McAllister is a rapper, aka Lil Rock, his stage name. The family didn't just preserve Speaker Knockerz' name, they actively managed it. They ran his legacy like the business Derek himself had envisioned. Speaker Knockerz' official Instagram states, "The official IG of Speaker Knockerz managed and operated by the McAllister estate. Long live SK." That Instagram page, that Facebook page, the label, the music releases, and that brings us to the elephant in the room, and the question everyone has been asking since April 16, 2026. It wasn't a hack. Here's where everything converges. When Speaker Knockerz' account tweeted at Plaqueboymax 12 years after his death, the immediate reaction from fans and media was to scream hack. Someone broke into the account. Some random troll got the password. A bored teenager exploited a forgotten email address. That was the narrative for about the first hour. And it made sense on the surface. But consider the evidence. Speaker Knockerz' official Instagram is described as managed and operated by the McAllister estate. The official Facebook of Speaker Knockerz is also managed and operated by the McAllister estate. The family has retained operational control of Speaker Knockerz' digital footprint across every platform. Instagram, Facebook, the record label, the YouTube channel, the music distribution, all of it runs through the McAllister estate, a family enterprise built specifically to protect and extend the legacy of Derek McAllister Jr. The question isn't who hacked it. The question is far more interesting. Who in the family decided to log in? The family has had the keys to the kingdom this entire time. His younger brother, Christian McAllister, is also a rapper called Lil Knock. Christian took over Taliban's entertainment. Christian carries the label forward. Christian, who grew up watching his older brother build an empire from a bedroom, who watched the music industry retroactively acknowledge what Derek had done, who saw artist after artist credit Speaker Knockerz as a foundational influence. Christian has been the steward of that legacy. And then there's Derek McAllister Sr., the father, the man who went to prison for 10 years, came home to find his son making beats in a bedroom, helped him create his first mixtape, watched him become the biggest unsigned rapper on the internet, and then found him dead in a garage. The father who posted on Twitter in 2014 asking followers for help finding his missing son. The father who, after Derek's death, stepped into the role of managing the Taliban's entertainment label alongside Christian. They have always had the passwords, the email associations, the recovery methods. Speaker Knockerz' social media footprint was part of a broader estate, an estate that includes his music catalog, his brand, his label, and his online presence. When the Speaker Knockerz' account tweeted at Plaqueboymax, it didn't come from a stranger. It came from someone with authorized access, someone in the McAllister circle. And the timing makes sense. Plaqueboymax represents a newer generation of internet culture, a generation that grew up on the sound Speaker Knockerz pioneered. The tweet was not random. It was deliberate. It was a statement. It was the McAllister estate using the most impactful tool in their arsenal, the dormant, untouched, almost sacred Speaker Knockerz account, to reach across the generational divide and make contact with the cultural present. Think about what that means. For 12 years, they could have tweeted anything. They could have promoted posthumous releases. They could have posted anniversary tributes. They could have used the account to drive traffic to streaming platforms. They didn't. They left it exactly as Derek left it, frozen on that lonely iTunes link from March 5, 2014. They treated that account with reverence. And then, on April 16, 2026, they chose to break that silence. The fact that they chose Plaqueboymax, someone embedded in the current generation of internet-native content, suggests this was not impulsive, this was strategic. This was a family that has spent 12 years watching the world slowly realize what their son, their brother, their Derek had built. A family that has watched his influence grow while his name remained, in many circles, tragically undercredited. And they decided it was time to remind the world that the account still belonged to someone. It wasn't a hack. It was a family reclaiming the voice of someone they lost. A ghost tweet that was never a ghost at all. Just a mother, a father, or a brother logging into an account that has always been theirs and saying what Derek never got the chance to say. His death leaves the ache of lost possibility, but his family refused to let that ache be the final word. Long live SK. Speaker Knockerz was 19 when he died. He never got signed. He never went platinum. He never did a press run. He never sat on a podcast and told his story. But in an era of ever-shrinking attention spans, Speaker Knockerz' staying power is a testament to his work ethic and musical intuition. And now, 12 years after his final tweet, someone in his family wanted the world to remember that. Not through a press release, not through an interview, through the very platform Derek used to build everything he had. That's the truth about who's behind Speaker Knockerz' tweet. It wasn't a hacker. It wasn't a glitch. It was love. It was grief. It was legacy. And it was always the family,